What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Powerstroke Tech Talk podcast. This is number 18. We got a full house tonight. We got returning DS up in the house, Kegman, Nate, Reeland, Matt, Angry Bear, and Zach, straight from the West Coast, right up in Washington. Holla. We are going to be talking about a video that went live yesterday, the 22nd of January, about the SPE CCV delete. I think the comments were overwhelming, and it's something I want to talk about to get a little further in detail. But I want to say we want to get on Spotify, let you guys know that we're on Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon, and Podbean. For those of you that don't have the ability to play YouTube in the background. So we are going to get this rolling. Zach, real quick, just a rundown. If you just want to tell everybody just maybe what you do. You just started at a Ford dealer, you were saying, and maybe how long you've been in the business or whatever, and we'll get this shindig rolling, man.
Yeah. Well, I started in the field, I think around 2012. I was about 19 years old. I started doing tires and oil changes at a Sears Auto Center, worked my way up and, went through the typical apprentice dum-dum moves and eventually found my way up here into Washington and started at a Kia dealership. And that's where I cut my teeth on a lot of stuff. Been with them for Kia and Hyundai Genesis product lines for 5 years now, but recent political concerns inside that company forced me over to the Ford side, which I'm not turning back from. I think it's pretty damn fun that I'm back to working on trucks that I used to work on when I was 19, 20, 21 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So learning curve again, though. It's a lot different.
Oh, yeah. It definitely a lot of good stuff you'll learn just here on the channel with just common wiring problems that we find. Myself, Matt, Angry Bear here, the stuff that we see all the time with just aftermarket upfitters, whether it be corrosion state. So being in Washington, I mean, I don't know what the weather and geographical weather climate is. Do you guys get snow out there? Or you guys use salt and stuff on the road?
Yeah, so when I moved up here, actually about end of 2015, early 2016, was near the snowpocalypse of this area. It actually froze most of I-5 with about 3 to 4 inches of ice and snow.
Wow.
And people were literally jumping out of their cars and just like walking off the freeway. Like literally 3 o'clock in the afternoon, rush hour. People just, nope, we're done, getting out of their cars and walking away.
Wow.
But it's rare that we get those kinds of weather events. It's mostly just kind of mild and breezy. But the fires this last year, it was well over 80 degrees for most of the summer.
Damn.
Sorry, boys. I'm not laughing at you two. I'm just reading some of these comments and some of the replies to them, and
I know some of them are okay. How many thumbs down does it say? I think there's only a couple of them.
3. I guess that Georgia mud got him stuck doing that one view appeal like the metallic mint green 1964 Buick Skylarks.
I don't know where the dude's at, man. I straight up. I've exhausted all forms of communication to the chat there, and
dude, do you think if the phone rings, he's like, "What's going on, Mikey?" And Mikey's like, "Well,
I thought Mikey left.
There's an incoming call, and I think that's right, Mikey. The phone's ringing."
I thought Mikey left the show.
No, that was Pascal. That was the salesman.
Yeah, Pascal.
I don't know, Matt. You better watch out. What if he sees this podcast and he sees what you're saying about him?
We're not talking bad about him. I just said I want to talk to him. I mean, hey man, I just got some questions for you. I mean, you're a senior tech to me, to all of us. You got a lot more of experience, and I think talking to another seasoned vet would just I think that'd be kind of cool. I'm not trying to poke fun, make any type of derogatory comments towards what you've built. I'm, trying to do the same thing. So, yeah, I think it would be good. Yeah, it would be cool to get him on here.
It'd definitely be funny. It'd be pretty funny. He's definitely a character.
I left my number, so I mean, the hotline's always open. We're waiting.
I guess you could always ask the followers to drop him a line if like 30 people dropped him a comment saying, "Hey, go on, play PT."
True that. That is true. That is true.
Maybe we can zoom it up. But anyway, what were you saying before Matt started laughing?
Oh, he was giggling.
I was giggling.
Talking about the corrosion. If they use, do they use salt out there?
Yeah, it's mostly on the Oregon side. The Washington, Oregon kind of has their own weird duo where if one's not doing it, the other won't. But when we had that, like I said, snowpocalypse, we had stuff from all the way from Seattle coming down through Vancouver into Portland area, just to de-ice the hills.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy, man. Wow.
But up to that point, there's not very much corrosion until you get to the coast.
I wish Michigan ran sand instead of salt.
Yeah, that'd be
I
nice.
wish more states ran sand.
Mark from Ohio said that they use beet juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they put it in their de-icer.
Yeah, they use like a de-icing slurry to some degree, but they can't use it near the river because of EPA concerns.
I don't know how sand would work. I've only used salt. I don't know how effective it would be.
Sand is more as like a traction agent. So you're going to see it, basically the same places you'd see salt in deceleration areas, intersections, hills, around turns. That's what Colorado uses, and honestly, I like it better than I think some places in Colorado and out there use salt, but sand works, I'd say marginally better, and it doesn't ruin your car.
Oh, okay, wow.
Okay. And for the most part, unless we're seeing cars from the coast or anything over 15 years old is pretty well rusted, but we try to avoid most of that at our dealer. It's anything 20 years and younger.
And we get a couple old girls here and there at our store, but
a lot of comments. That's crazy. I'm looking at
dude,
that right now.
looked, you had 199 comments and I didn't filter out your replies, but damn, that's a lot of comments.
I'm telling you, that's a lot.
It's a hot topic. I think
it really is.
I support CCV deletes. I support, doing all that. Do I recommend it all the time? Can't say I do.
I think the circumstance has to be right, because I was talking to a guy this morning about it. Every engine has a certain degree of blow by. There's going to be a certain degree of blow by in every engine. That's why we have PCV. That's why we have CCV. We can't contain everything in that combustion chamber, and some of it's going to leak into the crankcase. So if
it's a byproduct,
it's what happens. Okay. So if you had, for instance, my 2020 compared to, let's say, this dude's 15. Well, let's take 2020 out of it. Let's say I had an 11 and let's say I had a 16. If I were to say that the 16, which has more miles on it than the 11 or vice versa, one's going to be wore out more than the other. It's just how it is. So there may be a different degree of blow by comparing the two trucks together. So if you were to take your oil fill cap off and run the engine, get it hot, take that off, as you've seen in one of the videos that I've done with it blowing off because the CCD box is plugged up. Look at how much smoke's coming out, how much vapor's coming out. It may be more on a truck that has more miles. It may be less on a truck with less miles. So if you're going to put one on, I think it would be more noticeable not having a CCV box than if you had to do it on a truck that's just chooching already. So, some of the comments, if you look through them, the dude's like, I've had it on for 30,000 miles. I've had no problems, no leaks, no smell. Love it. Been running great. Da 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 da. One dude's like, got 200,000 miles on it. Same thing. Another dude's like, I can't stand the smell. I pull up to a drive-through. It's like, well, is his truck wore out more? Okay, well, if it was wore out more and you're producing more blow-by, well, what was going to cause you to produce more blow-by? Is it something with the engine? Okay, again, we're talking about oil. Is it not because you're running a good quality oil? Is it because you're not running full synthetic?
Total lack of maintenance. I knew you were going to sneak that in there.
Lack thereof. Exactly.
I mean, my thing with the whole CCV thing is I have yet to do it on a pickup truck, right? It's mostly cabin chassis trucks and trucks that are idled like excessively. Now that is a maintenance item. So does that responsibility fall on the technician to recommend to replace it? Does the responsibility fall on the owner to follow the owner's manual and the, maintenance schedule?
If it's going to be on the
They're
tech,
obviously right.
That tech's going to have to be smarter than the average bear, not just some quick lane kid that's just going to change the oil.
And I think the really hard thing, and I don't want to say where Ford screwed up with this, but anytime I go to sell a filter, a customer sees it as an upsell and they see it as an upsell as the same thing as their cabin air filter, that it doesn't matter. So it's kind of
trying to rip them off.
Yeah, they're like, crankcase ventilation filter. You're making that up.
You don't need that.
That's a weird thing because when I'm at the dealership getting maintenance, I feel like the service advisors are a little bit oversensitive. Like they're bringing you air filters, they're showing you. I'm like, dude, just put the filter in the truck, put a new one in. But you can tell that they're like worried. Oh, I'm making sure the filter is ready. Man, I'm not worried about a filter. Put an air filter in the truck, man.
Yeah, but I mean, not everyone's like that because I say from firsthand experience, a lot of diesel owners, first-time diesel owners, don't want to say it, but I'm going to, can be pretty cheap because they're like, I spent a lot of money on this truck and now I have to put more money into it. But I've said it once, I've said it a million times, I'll keep saying it. If you can't afford the big boy truck, then you can't afford the big boy truck maintenance.
I just talked to a dude today. He texted me on fucking Facebook and is like, and is explaining his concern, and is like, oh, I'm like, it's probably some injectors, man. It's a 6.0. I was like, probably need a couple of injectors. I was like, big deal, just do them. He's like, oh well, if you think $1,230 is a big deal, I'm like, dude, don't forget you drive a Super Duty. It's going to be thousands to fix at times. It is what it is.
That's the nature of the beast. And
what are you going to do?
It's definitely given diesels or, we'll say Powerstrokes, 6 liters and 6.4s, in a sense, bad names. I'm going to say 6.4 is more than 6 liters because the amount of catastrophic failures those things would have. But once you get done quoting a long block and labor and you're at 18 grand, they think you're full of shit and tugging their leg. And it's like, this is another thing. If I quote you a Ford quality reman long block or a brand new long block, I'm not doing that because it's easier. I'm not doing that because I want to upsell and get more hours out of you. I'm doing that because I want you, the customer, to have full warranty coverage on everything, right? If I just do a short block and I have a valve stick and you're already out of warranty, that's not covered, right? There's nothing.
Well, you just had this apart. What do you mean it's not covered?
What do you mean it's not covered? What do you mean you're not going to Goodwill it? What do you mean this? What do you mean that? That's why we are taught, and I think Aaron and Nick and Zach would agree with me. That's why we do that.
Yeah.
It's not because we want to get more money out of you. It's because I want you to have the best experience possible. And quite honestly, if I put an engine in your truck, I never want to see it again unless I'm
think the
changing the
most-
oil on it.
I think the
Yeah.
most cost-effective repair sometimes is just to put an engine in it. I mean, I have a vehicle at work right now, and it's a gas V10. It's a bus. It's got 2,000 miles on it. Oil cooler must have failed. I got milk in the oil cooler. Thing overheated. Cam caps are scored. It's like, why would, you know what I'm talking about? ESP is going to want you to tear it down. It's like
Yep.
the person behind the desk. Okay, I respect their job. I get it. I'd want them to respect mine. But you need to understand or have the concept or principle of what we have going on here and not what you have going on behind this computer. For me to waste my time, not my time, for me to waste Ford Motor Company's money to tear something down when I obviously know what the root cause is already, it kind of aggravates you at times because all you want to do is
No,
just
I
get to.
agree with you, but
Yeah.
there's a reason they got to that point is because there are bad seeds that have gotten to the point of having to do that. Oh, is there a visitor? There's a visitor.
Oh, Archie.
Bork,
Oh,
bork.
Archie.
They need to realize once you overheat an engine, you might as well replace it.
You're donezo, man.
Yeah.
Smoke
I
those
mean-
pistons. Don't ask me how I know.
Oh, what are you
I
doing?
mean, coming from
Quit clicking on things.
faux luxury land, it's not uncommon for a lot of people to buy these like $10,000 cars that really are only worth about $1,500 in scrap metal,
Oh my
and realize that one module on that car is $5,000, and it's made by
God.
the lowest common denominator. Like, I'm not kidding you, a smart cruise control radar module that sits on your front bumper, your Genesis, that's $5,000.
For real?
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you, it's about the size of an iPhone.
Dude, it's the same
And-
reason I would never buy a platinum truck or a high trim level truck is like your heads up display goes out and you really want it to work again, pull out your checkbook.
Yeah. I mean, those LED lights and all that stuff. It's like
It's
Long term.
ridiculous.
an XL or an XLT might be better long term, just all the technology.
Yeah. Well, shoot, dude, your power mirrors go out. If you
It's
have,
$1,500.
Yeah,
power,
$1,500
power
so far.
telescoping, power fold, you got 1,600 for one side, 1,400 for the other side.
1,200 for a tail. How much was that tail lamp that you had with that bliss line? What was that thing? $800?
Yeah, something like that. It has the
One tail light.
the side obstacle detection module integrated into it.
Dude, and my favorite thing about those two is they have a core on them.
Oh yeah.
All because they go back to the manufacturer. That was
Yeah.
the thing with our transmissions.
They don't want them things on the
Greenland.
streets.
Yep. They don't even tell you how to diagnose it other than, is it a solenoid? Is it the module, or is it the actual wiring? Other than that, you're not rebuilding them. You're not touching anything inside of them. You just rip out, put a new one in, program it, and ship it out on the road. And that's the way most of it goes, because it's all their internal warranty policy. I had to work a lot with that because, 10-year, 100,000 powertrain, you have to do everything to the T every single time. It's like, sure,
Yeah,
let me
I
just
get kind
contact
of-
your PA shit for 4 hours a day.
I get jealous of our Honda dealership is like kitty corner to us, and our Mazda store is right behind us now because they have moved to their own building. But I get real jealous of our Honda constituents because they have an engine noise and it's under powertrain. Honda's like, just put an engine in it. They don't have to tear it apart. They don't have to do anything. Oh, you got a little bit of a shift flare? Put a trans in it.
Because it's going to go back to the scientists in Japan, and they're going to
Just-
tear
just
that
a
thing
little-
down and
A
figure
little
out
bit of
what's
a
going on.
shift
with
flare,
it.
though, man. It's got to be pretty consistent, right? A shift
I
flare,
mean,
it's like
obviously,
every
it's not going to
shift.
be like a programming issue, but it's like if
Right,
it really flares like the 3-4 shift, and then whatever else is on that
Put an engine in it. Thank you.
that
Come again.
carrier or whatever, then yeah, Honda would be like, yeah, just replace it.
Thank you.
Don't
Come
tear
again.
it down. But
Yeah. Well, and Honda, when I worked for a Toyota Honda dealership for a little bit, one of the guys there, instead of, the typical practice is if you have a problem with their first gen or second gen CVTs, then you just do an entire unit. No problem, no questions asked. Well, he got smart, and instead of doing that, he was doing 1-2 clutches, and that was the like soft entry into the CVT action instead of that like just to get the car rolling, And so when he found out how to do that, man, he was pumping them out like 2-3 a day, tear them out, rip it apart, put new clutches in, put it back together, and ship it down the road.
I was very, very surprised that Ford low time and serviced a 7.3 gas engine for a noise. Very surprised by that one, but I don't know if that's has to do with the lifter issue that seems to be going on with those or what.
We got one with something like that, but
Tick, 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 tick. Well, we listened to it and it just sounded like it. I don't know. They're probably going to put out TSB. It's going to end up being like the modular engines. And they're going to be like, that's a normal characteristic.
Probably.
This one will-
They're
That's a
probably
what?
they're probably taking care of those 7.3 customers because it's new. It's the new Godzilla.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, whatever, Ford wants the engines back so they can, compare and contrast everything and be like, okay, well, we can improve this, improve that. We didn't see this coming, so I guess that's kind of the unfortunate thing of getting a first gen, but I don't think I've heard of anything with 6.7 yet, so that seems to be a good thing. Although I would like to tear one of those apart just to see how small those pistons are now.
Yeah. Well, they just came out with the few TSBs, or at least something that was on the main page of PTS about the new 10 speeds.
Oh, literally the page like this long of 10R140 TSBs.
Yep, all saying it's normal. It's normal. Just let the customer drive it. It's normal.
Well, no, the thing that got me and made me laugh is it was like when you're in park, the vehicle has a strategy, or the trans has a strategy to go into neutral, and then it engages into whatever gear it demands based on load coming out of neutral and acceleration and everything, or whatever, right? I said, refer the customer to the owner's manual for this, and it's like, what?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I will say, like,
they have one truck that does this. They have another truck that doesn't. You want me to tell them to look at the owner's manual? Tell them it's normal.
I will say
Okay.
the 6-speed is simpler and it shifts better. Like, it does the same thing every time you drive it. It just does the same thing. It seems like it's just transmission. But the 10-speed,
I did get a 10-speed to row through all 10 gears on its own.
If I put
mean,
my
they're
engine
cool.
brake on, it'll do it.
they're cool.
That thing was literally like.
Yeah, but sometimes it like misses a gear, or sometimes it does something weird. But it's cool.
Yeah, they do
other
some
than that.
funky stuff.
We got
6
three
speeds.
2020s in the house right now. We got 30 speeds right now.
Well, I
I
mean,
do love the
technically, I have a
6-speed.
6-speed. I have the hidden fourth gear.
6-speed is a good transmission.
Yeah, simple to
wish-
work on, reliable.
Very
Which one?
reliable, very consistent.
Which
if you're
6-speed?
plowing snow, if you're
6R140.
Because
Whatever
technically, the
work you're
5R110 is a 6-speed.
Yeah, but
Hidden gear.
that's 6.0 shit.
Well,
rocks
6.4
out.
shit too.
6-speed
We ain't
rocks
talking
out.
6.4 shit. Although I
I
do
think-
have a studded 6.4 complete sitting in a crate at work.
Dude, I feel really bad for my coworker because I think since end of October, he has literally been doing nothing but 6-liter work.
Oh, I'll fucking tell
And
you. Bring it,
like-
baby. Bring it.
One customer has brought us 2 trucks now, and he bought the trucks and he's like, I just want you guys to do literally everything. So pulled the engine on one, head studs, whole shebang, block half gaskets, this, that, the other. Then we had another customer come in with an excursion. He did the same thing on that one because that customer wanted it. Same guy that had the other one come in, wanted it done on that one. So he just finished that one up. We had the customer that had the crank break in half, well, snapped on that one. He just started on that one. And then after that, he's got head gaskets to do on another one. And it's like, he can't get away from it. Every time he thinks he's done with doing 6-liter work.
Well, once you're good at it, you know what I mean? It's not bad to stay with.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's just,
People did make their fortunes off of them.
That's what I was raised on, baby, right there.
But I mean, it's like at some point you need a change of scenery. You're like, come on.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It seems
Brakes
like
are
if
so
you're-
monotonous and boring, but just give me some brakes right now.
If you're staying on the
Something.
same motor, you could get more proficient, I would think. But
Oh, I mean, he grew up. It's like Aaron, you know. He grew up, like literally grew up with that engine, and I can just grab anything off of that engine. I'll be like, "What's this?" And I'll be like, "It goes here." How do you
Question:
that?
What
Same thing for
if?
things.
What if?
You guys want to do a
okay,
game? You guys want to do a game?
What kind of game?
I don't know if this is your question, and I ran this by A-Rod. What if we give one of you guys, whoever it is, we'll basically have, we'll give Sean like a bucket of bolts and components, and he's going to have a cheat sheet of what is what. And he's just going to whip one up and be like, what's this bolt for? What does this go to?
That'd be fucking great.
What is this connector for? Just to see like how screwed up our memory is of how we just know where stuff goes.
I could do that
Yep.
with a 6.7, but I was 8 years old when the 6-liter came out, so.
Dude, because
I
it's
mean,
like I will see a bolt laying on the ground and I'll like wonder, I'll be like, huh. I'll go to put something back together and it's like a bolt that I must have not realized dropped. And then I'll forget about it. And then I'll be walking, I'll be like,
What the fuck?
oh, that is a secondary water pump bolt. I'm like, how the hell did I even know that?
I mean,
How do I even know where that goes?
the Theta engines, because we started doing short blocks with them. At one point, you could take every single bolt on that engine, throw it in a different corner of the shop, spin me around, give me a fifth of whiskey, and just let me go like a rabbit around the shop. And I will tell you where every single bolt goes, what torque spec it is, and exactly why I know that, because they've all broken on me at least once.
man, I put
Fuck.
an engine in a Kia once, and after putting it in, the plug near for the proportioning valve on a master cylinder plugged into something else. It was the same plug, the same size. And I'm like, never have I seen a vehicle where you could just mix up 2 plugs right next to each other.
Yeah, it was pretty common for the back bank V6 cylinders and the 4 cylinders before they went to the one like fits.
This was a 4-cylinder Kia.
Yeah.
It had to be like
I mean,
2000.
what can you do that with on a
dirt.
6.7?
Do what on the 6.7?
That you
It's
can
like all the harnesses should lay properly. Like everything should be foolproof, unless you're gonna like plug an injector in the wrong spot or like a spark plug or something wrong. But two things that have nothing to do with each other: a proportioning valve and whatever else it was near the intake. What
The
are you
older
doing?
ones
dude,
are-
I know what it is
or
now.
old Mitsubishi crap, anyways.
Mitsubishi.
It was on a transit
Mitsubishi.
that another shop had worked on, and poor guy that got stuck working on 6 liters, it was him. Like the wheel speed sensor connectors will have like, say this is your connector, you'll have a tab here and a tab here, and then the other one will have a tab here and a tab here.
Yeah.
Well, for whatever reason, on the male side, they stopped doing that. So you would literally look at these two connectors and you'd be like,
Huh.
well, shit, which one goes where? But I mean, obviously, if you looked at the diagram of wiring color or wire color, you would know, but it's like just quick glance. Oh, why is the ABS light on? Which he
Yeah, all
quickly
that-
figured out because that's
All
why
that
it
stuff
was
should be
at our
pretty
store.
foolproof. No, it'd be
Yeah.
ABS lights.
Well, yeah, so like they had the ABS light on. He looked at the connectors and he's like, these are the same connectors, but I wonder. And I'm trying to think, like, what bolts could you screw up on a 6.7? Probably harness bolts.
I have a comment and a question. Or not question, a statement. I was watching TikTok, or it was on Instagram, but it was like somebody had, reposted. So like this guy's like, so, he's walking with the bolt. He's like, so I'm a mechanic, and as a mechanic, I like to walk around the shop and go up to one of my coworkers' jobs and take this bolt and just set that bolt right in their little bucket of bolts.
Fuck.
Can you imagine? Like, I mean,
Dude.
I would eventually notice, but I mean, can you imagine like some dude who's, got all his shit light up, how we try to keep our shit nice and, neat and organized, and
I don't.
come
I
by
literally
like,
just throw it in my roll
what the
cart.
fuck is that?
He's making you feel like you forgot some shit.
Or something,
No,
yeah.
That's so
I have
funny, dude.
I have considered very hard, and I have a spare tone wheel,
Oh.
a spare crankshaft tone wheel, and I have very highly considered, after someone put the battery cables back on, to just drop that in the roll cart and see what would happen.
Bro, somebody just did that, but they didn't take it off. They left it on the old engine
Uh-oh.
and then put the new engine in.
I mean, luckily a trans on those, you can get in and out pretty darn quick.
Well, this was a Transit EcoBoost.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, you're not having a fun time then, are you?
Yeah.
I haven't done much transit work. Are they doghouse style, or are they solid?
No, they have
we
no
wish.
motherfucking doghouse, bro.
Oh, great.
Rich, you know how nice it would be to do EGR coolers on those things?
Oh my god,
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be so sick. That would be so sick.
Or like, dude, we've had
Damn, a doghouse on
We've
a
had a
Transit?
few
Wow.
transits come in and they're like, oh yeah, I just brought my vehicle into wherever and they did the EGR cooler and it's the check engine light's on like 200 miles later. It's like, you know how
Oh,
nice a
dude.
doghouse would be to put those vacuum lines back on that someone didn't seat back on all the way? Because you got to get in there with a mirror with one hand like this, and then you're like this, and then you're like this.
Yeah, those are those can suck too. I've
Am I
gotten
tripping? I could have swore I just saw my dog in here.
I got pretty damn good at them. They
so what? We've got two new techs in here today.
yeah.
What is a horror story? Either one of you guys. What's like a horror story that you got stumped trying to do something, fix something, haunted you?
Well, Nick ran my foot over with a cop car and took me to the ground. So I mean,
What the hell?
that
For
was
real?
kinda- that was
yeah.
kinda
I mean, yeah, I've done way worse. We were throwing our old floor jack away, and it's like a big mother trucker of a floor jack. Like it's a Norco, like I think it's a 5-ton floor jack. And I thought my coworker was ready to throw it into the bed of our lot truck, and I threw it, and it did not make it into the bed, and it whacked him in the head. And I have never felt so bad about something in my life, because normally I'm the kind of person where I see people get hurt and I start laughing.
Dude, you hit
My
him with a
heart
floor
sunk.
jack?
Dude, I thought I killed him.
Oh
Dude,
man.
you hit somebody
Oh, my
with a
God.
floor jack, bro?
Dude, no.
What the
Sean,
fuck?
you don't understand how big
Dude.
these floor jacks are.
Dude.
What are you, fucking King Kong?
I
You're
don't-
just throwing around a floor jack?
Dude,
I
guard.
went to, like I thought we were doing like a 1-2 Scooby Doo.
Dude, why would you throw a floor jack?
Motherfucker, you
Dude,
are
why would you-
Scooby Doo.
Well, I thought
Why
he
would
was
you
ready,
throw a
so
floor jack
I
into
chucked
a truck, though?
I chucked my end into the bed of the truck.
Wouldn't it fuck up the truck if you just threw a floor jack in
Dude,
the
it's our
truck?
lot truck. We don't care.
Dude, but still,
it's,
man.
it's the truck we used to drag things in, right?
Typical.
So
Yeah, but you're just gonna throw
I got
a floor
this floor
jack.
jack, and I'm thinking we're ready to throw it in, and like, dude, this is a heavy floor
So-
jack. I will.
So
I will show you a
my
picture.
little floor jack at my house is 100 pounds.
No, dude, this floor jack literally puts all
It's
other
more-
floor jacks to shame.
So that one's probably like 200-300 pounds.
Oh, we were struggling to pick it up, so I go to throw that thing in,
You
right?
threw it.
I got
and it hit
the
him.
handle
You hit
side.
him?
I got the handle side, and
Dude, I would have been so pissed if you hit me.
I
with a
still
floor
feel
jack.
so bad about this. I have the
Dude,
handle
that's
side,
messed up, bro.
and I'm like this.
That's
I don't
a
even
throw
know.
it.
I don't
I
even know
throw
if that's.
it, and he still kind of got it in his hands. So it hits the tailgate, and it goes like this.
Did
It
you
just catapults
talk?
right into his
Wait,
head.
wait. Did you talk about this? Did you say, "Hey, let's throw this"?
Yeah, like we knew what we were doing, but I
So
guess
it's not
I
your
got
fault.
injured.
It's his fault.
No,
He
it
didn't
is
like-
not his fault. I will not say it is his fault. It's
No, but I'm
100%
saying-
my fault.
No, but I'm saying, did you guys know? Did he know you were gonna throw it? Like, or did
I
you
don't,
just throw
dude.
it?
I think I just got caught up in the moment. Regardless, you know who you are. I feel terrible about
Yeah, that
hitting
may
you
be
in the
your
head with a
fault.
floor jack.
It don't sound like he knew you were throwing it.
I don't think
That
he
may-
did.
Why would you throw- why
he
would
was
you
done
throw
for
that,
the
bro?
rest of the day. He had to just like sit for the rest of the
The
day.
rest of the day.
He
And this
needed
was
to
at, like,
sit
lunchtime.
for the rest of the day.
He's a soldier. I would have went to medical.
I'm a soldier.
I got a story for you.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
the
yeah.
time, as a kid working under me, we just did an upper oil pan on a 350 pickup Lariat. He forgot to connect the shift linkage back on the trans. Started the
Oh.
truck up, crawled underneath it.
Oh fuck.
The truck was in neutral. He tried to switch the linkage himself to park while the vehicle was on and running. Threw it in
Oh,
drive, truck plows into the wall in front of him, smashes his toolbox, almost runs him over.
But he was under it. He was under it. So then,
was
so he
underneath
went.
it.
Did he
Come
go
on.
under? Did he go
This
under the
shit's
rear
not
diff?
real.
No, he
Like-
luckily, if the wall wasn't there, he would have been ran over.
Oh, dude. So it
Luckily,
didn't go
wall
that.
was there.
It didn't go that far. It only went,
Yep.
and then he was still under. Like, oh fuck.
All right,
Destroyed
so
his
this is
toolbox, but
this is the best
Saved his
picture
life.
I can find of this floor jack, and you will understand like the monstrosity size of these floor jacks that we have. This is just one I found on the internet compared to like a ladder.
Dude, you
Oh.
tried to throw that, and he didn't know you were throwing it.
Dude, we
That's-
chucked it in the bed,
Dude,
and that
that is-
handle right there got him
Dude,
good.
That's fucked up, man. That is fucked up. I
That
can't
is a
believe.
floor jack, my friend.
I don't know, man. I would never have told anyone that story. That's fucked up.
It wasn't intentional, but that
I know,
is, like,
I know, but it don't matter, bro.
Well, which is worse,
everyone's
him?
like, oh, don't get around Matt with a floor jack. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't.
I don't know which one is worse.
Well, you
I
want to
think
get hit in the
Florida-
head with a floor jack, or you want DS to lock up your car after doing an engine repair?
Lock up the car. I think lock up the car. I don't want to get hit in the head.
I want to get hit in the head with a billy club.
Hold on. So, did you ever talk to him? Did you ever talk to him?
Man,
about
I'm
that?
never telling. I'm never telling.
You
I'm gonna
think
probably
you're not?
tell him.
Dude, it's out on the
You know what?
internet now.
No,
You know
not
what?
yet.
It's been a couple years, and I'm probably gonna wait. I think 2 more years. It's been like 8 years. I'm gonna wait like
All
2
right.
more years before I tell him.
So Nick says he watched his coworker almost die. Zach, what's yours?
Oh God, I have way too many to tell.
Listen, we all
Let's
start
see.
somewhere. We all fuck something up, man.
Oh, so here's a doozy of a one that wasn't my fault, and it really and truly was fucking parts department's fault. So we're doing a V6 on a Sorrento. No, not a Sorrento. A Santa Fe SUV V6. Nothing super fancy, just a GDI motor. Threw a rod through the
All right.
block, broke valves, everything. Needed everything. So it was like $18,000 once everything was all said and done. Well, the chains and the phasers and the cam sprockets had been updated since the engine was produced. No TSB, no nothing. put it together, ship it down the road after I do my test drive. Customer picks it up that night. It's Friday. And, I enjoy my weekend, come in on Monday, and I see that same car there. I'm like, that's unnerving.
Right.
So on Saturday, the foreman, who he was pretty much worth his weight in stone, not money. Let's just put it that way. Gets the car, checks it out. It's got a check engine light running like shit. Check engine light's just for cam phaser, out of time, but all of a sudden it starts running fine. So he's like, okay, clears codes, drives it 5 miles, ships it back to the customer.
Damn.
She doesn't even make it back to her house 15 minutes away before the engine goes pop. What had happened was the even cylinder bank on that engine, when they changed the design of the chain and the phasers, they didn't release the parts for the phasers yet or the cam sprockets, but they sent me the chain, and it was a slightly different machining thickness. So it literally split the chain in half. Like the chain went rip.
Yikes.
While she was doing about 60 miles an hour. So I ended up having to tear that thing apart again. All in all, the total bill for that one car, after being at our shop for 9 months, 9 months, was $28,000.
Oh,
wow.
My
Might as well just give him a new car at that point.
Even better story about it. They covered the whole bill. They tried to come back on the tech, me, because I didn't check TSBs. Motherfucker, they didn't even have a TSB at the tech level. They had it at the engineering department and at the tech line assistance center level, but they hadn't released it.
Did they actually try to charge you?
Oh, they tried. When I worked for, they tried charging me back, not charging me personally, but the dealership back the entire claim, because their idea of like not paying a claim was not paying the entire thing, not doing like, well, you went over on like reusable bolts or whatever, so we're just gonna like kick that off the claim. No, they kicked the entire thing back to the dealership and then charged them. And they were like, no, we did everything you were telling us to do. Nothing was even told to us until we called your tech line going, what the fuck?
Damn, that's that. You know what? It sucks because the customer, you don't want to do that to the customer.
Well, and like I said, and she's a traveling nurse too. So it was even harder for her just because she was in a rental vehicle for almost 9 months, gets her car back, and then goes, oh shit. Yeah,
that's
That
crazy,
would have
man.
not been cheap for the manufacturer to rent a car out for 9
at
months.
one point. Yeah. Well, at one point we had, when I took over as foreman, because I was the only one that had any certification level, it was me, a B Tech that had been a B Tech for 9 months before he got that position, 2 lube techs, and a couple of other lubies that were working around me. I was the highest experienced person in the building for almost a year.
Wow.
And so when it came to engines and diagnostics, electrical, basically anything over somebody's head was my job. We had cars on the lot for almost 6 months because I couldn't even touch a job because there was so much shit going on. Nobody in the building was qualified to do so. So cars just sat.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's why I am so glad I am in such a large dealership and that I do trucks.
Dude, I got a pretty brutal fucking story. Pretty brutal fucking repair story from hell. Repair story from hell, bro. I used to drive 99 Camaro. I had a 98 Camaro. I didn't have a lot of money, so I would get these cars for like catfish. I would get these Camaros for $500, and then I would get an engine for $500. And there's a whole fucking story about this Camaro that I got. It was like black, it had leather, and I probably was in this car for $1,200. It ran good, it was great. It was just perfect. Well, I never had a car that was all one color. I'm all excited. It's all black. It's got T-tops. It's a V6. No one really knows. I would get the Buick V6s and put them in it because they're cheaper.
No one knows.
Man, I would drive to work so fast. And then one day it was raining. I had the car up and running for like a week and a half. And I'm just sitting at the kitchen table with my uncle. He's like, hey, you better go to work. You're going to be late. I looked at my uncle and said, I'm never late. It's pouring rain.
That day he was late.
I'm over on Gratiot getting on the 75. We were in Detroit at the time. And I'm flying. I blow past this lady like, no, you're going too slow. I fly by her going like 70 in the pouring rain. And all of a sudden it starts pouring like harder and harder. Next thing you know, I'm like, wait a second. I'm not driving no more. I have no control. And the thing is, the music that I was listening to at the time was getting me way too hyper. Like, it's getting me way too. It was like, it was like some song. It was like, all the way turned up. I think it was Roscoe or something. Roscoe Bash or something. All the way. I was like, I'm not steering no more. And the car, I could see in the left mirror, the rear tire hits the concrete wall. And I'm like, oh no, I'm messing up my car. Next thing you know, the front slams into the wall, the airbags go off. I'm in the middle of the freeway.
No.
We drag the car off to the side and, we take it over to a lot, get it towed over to a lot. I had the car for, like I said, a week and a half. And it's totaled, man. It's totally wrecked. So I'm like, hey, I got to get back on the horse. I got to find another car. I got to find another Camaro. I still got an engine. This engine runs. So I got an engine. I just need to find one that needs an engine. Man, I went to Dearborn, some Arab guys, and got a these guys
You
ripped me
just
off.
had
Man.
to throw that in there.
They ripped me off.
I thought you were going Toyota on that one, but
I pulled the dipstick out, and I'm like, this transmission fluid's burned, man, because the engine was shot. I'm like, this transmission fluid, man, it don't look right. He's like, no, the transmission shift great. Don't worry. I
don't know if that was Middle Eastern or Jamaican.
It's knocking.
you said it, not me.
It's
No
knocking.
accents.
The
We're
motor's
not
knocking.
doing accents.
Whatever. The motor's knocking. So I was at the time working construction. I bring the car back over to the construction yard. I paid like $700 for the car. And I'm like, all right, time to get to work. I wanted that leather interior out of my black one. So I ripped the whole interior out, switched the interior. I'm thinking, all right, I got to do an engine and transfer. Let me just do the engine and see what happens. I put the engine in. I got the new interior in. Meanwhile, it's freezing cold. I don't have heat. I'm working at night in the middle of Detroit. I'm hearing spooky noises all the time. Like, oh my God.
So nothing's changed.
So I'm driving the car, the transmission. I'm like, oh my God, this transmission's so fucked. It's slipping. It's fucking it's not shifting past 2. It's like, oh. So I go and I put a new fucking trans in it, bro. I put the trans from the black car. I put the trans in it. Then the fucking rear end starts humming. I'm like, what the fuck? The rear end's making noise. So I fucking switched over to fucking rear end. Then I'm fucking, all right, I got it running finally. Next thing you know, like a week later, I hear a slight tap. On deceleration, I hear a slight tap. What is that? I'm checking the oil. I'm looking. It's fucking metal in the oil. Dude, this engine that I just put in the black one and then wrecked the car and then put it in the silver one. This one's silver now. Slowly but surely, the engine starts knocking. Finally, it's just a solid dull knock. The rod, it's throwing the rod. So I've got to go and get another engine and put it in the car, and it was just everything on the car. Every moving part was replaced, from the window regulators down to the engine, to the rear end, to the front hubs. Everything was replaced, and I drove that car for like 2 years. And I sold it for like $1,200, but that was just.
Now,
I mean, imagine
I think what the biggest question is what oil did you run in that?
in that. I probably ran like in the one that the engine failed.
Some bullshit wolf's head.
Dinosaur
No,
shit.
bro. No, the reason why the engine failed, in my opinion, is one or two things. Either because I crashed the shit out of it, or most likely is because when I was putting it together, when you switch over to the V6, the front wheel drive V6 to the rear wheel drive V6. You got to change everything over. So you got to change the oil filter housing. And I'm like, well, got to get the gasket. And my uncle was helping me. He's like, man, you don't need no gasket. Just make it out of RTV. I'm like, the oil pressure, the oil. Yeah, he's like, the oil
RTV
filter.
is not a gasket.
Yeah, I'm like, the oil filter housing is, man, just RTV. I'm like, you sure? The oil filter? I don't know.
Man, get some Elmer's glue, man.
I don't know why it went on it could have been because I crashed into the wall. I don't know.
Motherfuckers using rubber cement.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know.
You know what, Sean? Yeah, man, you gotta just throw some JB Weld on it. You'll be cool.
I don't know. I don't know. The oil filter housing shouldn't matter anyway. I mean, it wasn't leaking oil, so I had oil pressure. I don't know what happened. It could have been the engine. I got it from a junkyard. So
at least it's better than the E46. I think that's what it is. BMWs that have pretty much every BMW engine that has an oil filter standoff housing uses the alternator bracket as the oil filter standoff housing. So in order to repair that leak for a literal seal about this big, you tear the front end of the engine apart, pull the alternator bracket off, let that thing douche for about an hour, put it all back together, and then, you know, I think Car Wizard, another YouTube channel, just did yeah, and it's literally $3, $4 for a seal at $650 labor total or whatever it was.
I mean, that's kind of like doing a front cover on a 6.7. That seal is like $13, but it's.
You said that shit was hard as hell, though, huh?
Dude, the thing was literally like, I went to pull the front cover seal out. Soft, go to pull it out, and it just broke. So I'm like, I mean, I've seen some hard seals. So I'm like, okay, I'll pull it out. I couldn't pull it out. I'm like, I'll push it out. It won't move. So I grabbed a pick, and it was literally had turned itself into hard plastic. I'm like, well, that's why she's leaking.
How'd the high pressure pump come out?
High pressure pump? For what?
Oh, wait, yeah, I guess you wouldn't have to fuck with that.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
All you gotta do is take the vacuum pump off.
Yeah, duh. What am I thinking about?
I don't even know if you have to take the vacuum pump off. You might have to because there might be some bolts that are like captured behind it.
Mm.
No, I mean, that's not a terrible job. But if you have a press in place gasket on your oil pan, like 11 or a 12, you might be able to get away with doing it without taking the upper pan off. But I wouldn't recommend it.
Pigman Neat, how many
it.
miles on yours right now?
On my truck?
Yeah.
I'm pushing like 22,000.
Damn.
Wait,
She
so
gets
if I
driven.
missed, I haven't met Nate, so I don't know what he's running.
He got
2020, 6.7.
2020.
STX.
All right.
Yup.
You guys
Are you going crew cab,
Crew cab.
super cab? Okay, crew cab,
You got
6
that crew
3/4 or long bed?
6 3/4.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it with a crew cab and an 8-foot bed. That is a literal ship.
You might as well get a dually at that point.
Yeah, those things are ships.
Yeah, that's kind of what that's why I wanted a 450 because the front end's a little tighter. Turns in a little tighter, but.
So
I had a dude literally come in and try to complain about fuel economy on an F350 with an 8-foot bed and a crew cab, like I think what you're talking about. And, lift it up another 4 inches with some big 37s on it. And my service manager and I look at each other and go, really? I'm not even going to address this. I'm not going to waste my time.
yeah, I probably would have looked at those tires and be like, you got 37s on there, goodbye.
I want to put 37s on my 250. I think it'd be sweet.
And if you
Just
want
with
to,
The
might
stock
as well,
wheels.
but
Stock wheels. I don't want to put rims on it. I just want to get big wheels.
what do you have on those 18s?
Mm-hmm.
18s on 37s can look pretty good. If you go too wide, you might get, well, if you do like a 37 by 12 and a half, you might get wandering just because there's so much more sidewall over that wheel.
I don't know if I can go
You can
to a
kind of
12
go
and a
like
half.
that.
Yeah.
Do I have to go that wide? I don't think so.
I think that's what they come because my truck is running 35, 12 and a half 18s. And I don't get the wobble. I've had people complain about it, and we ended up going with aftermarket wheels.
I probably would be okay with 35s.
What do you guys think about Toyos?
They're good.
Drift
I
tires.
mean,
They're good.
I don't really.
Ryan, what tires did you just get?
I know a lot of custom offset guys run those, and they probably have a locally hated sticker on the back of their truck too. So that's my thoughts on them.
They're
What
good
tires did you just get, Ryan?
I just got Michelin Defender, like the LTX MS. I had
Alright.
Toyo Open Country AT2s. They were pretty decent. I think I got about 50,000 miles out of them. So
I'm telling you, these
I
Tremor ones,
really,
man. I love those
really
Goodyear
like-
ones.
Yeah, I hear a
Tread.
lot of good stuff. I hear a lot of good stuff about those Duratec tires. They have some aggressive tread.
I know, and I'm
Dude,
just
have
afraid
you-
that if I drive them,
Okay,
it's gonna
the
be-
tread is aggressive, right? You ever ran those in the mud or snow?
I'm
No.
sure they do good in the snow.
Stock.
Really?
On Toyo Duratec, I mean on Duratec.
No, the Wranglers.
The Wranglers.
We had a set of
Oh.
Wranglers on a plow truck when I worked for a landscape company, and I hated that truck through and through because of the tires that were on it.
I run Continentals on my plow truck and have no issues.
Continentals.
Are you talking about the Kevlar Wranglers?
No,
I don't remember if they were the Kevlars or
the
which
ones that
they
come on
were,
the
but
Tremors.
that tread pattern on the Wranglers does not do it for me. It just doesn't.
I still swear by the BFG
I've heard good
Bajas.
stuff.
Thing is, I
That-
feel like
that
BFGs
BFG.
wear out too fast too.
The KO2s?
BFG AT.
Yeah, KO2s.
Especially with the 1,050 foot-pounds, I'm gonna eat them things right up. Just eat them
Squishy
up.
tire, great for snow, great
Eat
for
'em up.
So I thought the
off-road. but
tread wear rating on
Well, wait,
those
what
is
about-
like
what
a
about
C,
the-
a B
What
or a
about
C.
the Falcon Wild Peaks?
I had Wild Peaks on my Grand Cherokee, and those things chopped like mad.
Someone's wrong with that Cherokee.
I'm just saying, I had them on a Grand Cherokee. They were passenger tires.
I mean, why
and
did they chop?
They chopped. Dude, it didn't matter how much I rotated them. It sounded like a freaking helicopter.
That's a first, man. I never heard nothing like that from Wild Peaks, man.
So I will not
Workplace,
get those again.
Workplace got Wild Peaks on his truck. He's towing and hauling and putting all kind of miles on it.
Workplay
Rotate-
needs to get his butt on here. I've told
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
it was
know.
to
just
get on here.
the batch of tires I
I know
had,
my
but-
man's
I mean, no,
busy.
I mean, it's a Cherokee. The thing probably was older and then probably had some alignment issues, I would imagine.
Now he's got.
Oh,
a
it was a
fleet of
Grand
trucks.
Cherokee. Alignment was fine. It had
I
been
wanna
to the
talk about
it had
his
been
shit.
to, the Jeep dealership, had front end done. Made sure that the thrust angle wasn't crazy on it, and they, did a dick job on the alignment, but they just chopped tires.
I know this.
thing
So
just chopped them.
I had them on my 150 before I sold it, and it hooked up pretty good in the snow.
Oh no, it was a tank.
Yeah.
They just didn't. I was not satisfied with how they wore.
How long did you drive them for?
Probably a year, and then
Wow.
that's when I traded that thing in and got my truck. So I'm not a fan. That doesn't mean you can't be a fan.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
So Nick, you're the young buck at your store, right?
One of them, yeah.
So what job do you get stuck with the most?
Well, first off, he is a senior master, certified in everything, certified in more shit than I'm certified in. I'll have you know. So
Well, right now, got a 6R140 I'm building on a school bus at a torque converter shutter.
Have you been able to get parts for that thing?
No, I've been waiting about 3 months for a torque converter.
Oh,
Just got it. So
Same.
I'm hoping to slam that thing in there next week.
I know that only because one of our trans guys, I'll walk by him just to heckle. Like, hey, so-and-so wants to know when you're going to get that trans done. He's, we're trying to get this thing done so we can get paid for it. And he'll look at me, I can't get part.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous. Been waiting on a seal kit and a torque converter, but
Literally the
think
same things he's waiting on. That's funny.
Yeah. Other than that, just kind of, a mix of everything. Used to do a lot of front end. Past couple of months, been doing a lot of short blocks on 6.7s.
Oh, really? All right.
But
my F450, the front end, it wanders a little bit.
Yeah. Do you get the death wobble at all? The steering oscillation?
You can't call it that. You can't call it that.
You know what?
Call it that.
I
got the steering wheel oscillation.
I got something one day, like last week, coming home from work. I hit it. I don't know what I hit, like a bump or a rut or whatever. And I did get a quick little, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of like it was like maybe 4 times. It was like, whoa, what the heck? And it was and then it straightened out. Other than that, it only happened once. But
they have that
it drives great in the
extended
city.
coverage on the
this is on a
shock.
20. It's not for a 20.
Oh, his is a 20. Okay.
It's only a 17 through 19 because it's supposed to have the new Hitachi dampener on them.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious because I didn't know if truck comes in, someone, hello.
I'm assuming that Hitachi
Someone's doing
doesn't
an
provide
inspection on it, and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, that sucks. That upper pan's leaking." Hey Nick, I got a job for you. I get that one a lot, probably once a day. Like, hey Matt, we got a job for you, and I'm just like,
yeah, you just gotta toughen up, Matt. You just gotta pick up your head and do what you gotta do. You'll be all right.
I was keeping track of how many upper oil pans and tank heaters I was doing on those trucks, and I just stopped counting at this point because it just makes me sad.
Yeah. The upper pans just kind of get old after a while.
Dude, they get so old. And I said this on our other one for some reason, and I don't know why. The thing I hate most about that job, it's not how dirty I get. It's not how much of a, PETA some things can be. It's that stupid oil filter housing. Cause I'm like, oh yeah, I'm freaking tearing this thing. I'm going to go fast. And it's like, I don't know why. The oil filter housing just pisses me off.
Why? Do you want me to come over there and take it out for you, little baby?
I can't explain it because I'm like, all right, I got this truck all ready to go. Got to put the oil filter housing on. I don't know why, but I don't like you.
The thing that stresses me out the most is
just get you some RTV.
Yeah.
Just get you some RTV and slap that oil filter housing on there.
But I think everyone that I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to jack that motor up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get that much more of a room because
speaking of jacking the motor up, someone had commented on one of the podcasts, and Aaron and I mulled over this a little bit, and I think it's only appropriate to address that of someone saying you guys need to let this out because if it's a faster, easier way, whatever. I have done it. I don't like it, and I do not find it safe. So
it sounds
that's why
sketchy.
I'm not gonna. That's why I'm not gonna say how to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want someone being like, "Oh, my cab fell on me. Oh,
yeah,
my engine fell on me. Oh, my trans fell on me." Like
it sounds sketchy.
I just hate working with the heavy weight of the trans. Like the jack and pulling it out, and then I just
you guys need to get yourself a Norco trans jack and get the adapter plate for a 6R140 because it makes, if you don't have one, it makes life so easy with pulling those things out.
We got what's the adapter
email
plate?
that link to me. We're gonna get a couple of those.
Yeah, I'll once we're done,
what's the
creep
adapter
up on there. The adapter plate for the Norco jack.
I'll buy one and then you can throw it at me like your coworker.
Oh, that was a trans jack. That wasn't a trans jack. That was a floor jack. I still do not feel good about it.
I guess we all make mistakes. I mean, you got a point. I did almost lock up that engine. I mean, it didn't lock up. At least it ran for a couple more years with the help of full synthetic oil. But
full synthetic sludge oil.
This is the adapter if you're doing it on a 650.
Oh,
yeah, fits it perfectly. And you can fit a 5R110 in there also.
Dude, Nick, we need that.
No more blocks of wood.
You guys have a Norco Transjack?
Yeah.
You need to get that.
How much is that?
Yeah, you need to get
Text
that
to me. Text that to me. Or
the only
that.
thing is right
nasty.
around here. I had to notch it to get the trans out of 650 and 750s. And if I notch it like that, I can roll the trans and pull it out without pulling the downpipe. So
yeah, because we just have the generic adapters that come with it. You know, the 4 legs.
Well, yeah, it's
kind of
the
sketchy.
4 legs, and you can shift them. The only time I use that is if I'm doing like a fuel tank or yeah, something like that. But no, that adapter is very nice, and I sent an email out to Norco the other day asking when the 6R14 or the 10R140 one's going to be coming out, and they're currently working on it.
I got a 10R140. I got to replace that Godzilla motor that I did a video on. He's getting a whole trans, so it'll be my first 2020 trans to take out.
That doesn't look fun to pull out.
why is that guy
whatsoever.
having so many issues, man?
I don't know.
First run.
I
That's
don't
all
know.
I can say. First run. Be patient.
Mm-hmm. First run, built on a Friday, built on the last day of the pay period. I mean,
Built
list
during
goes on.
COVID. Enough said.
Yeah.
COVID truck.
Enough
They didn't have
So-
the seal kit for it.
cocksuckers.
So speaking of transjacks and adapters that would have been nice a long time ago, I worked for a shop. It was an independent shop, and we would get some side work from the AT&T service stations that were around us. And one of them was the big hill trucks, because it was all power lines through the mountains, all fun stuff like that. So it was an F450, but it had like basically an excursion 6-door, cab on it with,
That's pretty cool.
Dude, it was a giant truck. I mean, I could sit underneath it, sit my ass on the concrete. And
So
slide
you're saying this truck is lifted with a excursion body on it?
It's something. I mean, it was something huge. It was a special order. It was. I mean, it was like the biggest
build.
Yeah, and it was built for going up, like I said, doing power lines in the mountains and stuff like that. Well, they blew out the transfer case on it, and we ended up replacing it. By we, I mean me. Scrawny 20-year-old me with weighing 130 pounds. That transfer case left FOMOCO imprinted backwards across my chest for about 3 weeks.
Plenty of times where I've put transfer cases in, you just lift them up and try to get it, try to slide it on there and I've done that a couple times. Those old Camaro.
The coolest, Aaron, have you ever got a 6x6 truck come in?
Mm-mm.
So the way I was told is there was a company that wanted to do 6x6 Super Duties, and this is way before Sparks Motors or Diesel Brothers, Heavy D, whatever you want to call them, started doing this. But Ford did it from the factory. They built, I think, 100, 1,000, whatever mini trucks, and this is one that I got to work on. This was when I was at our Quick Lane store.
They built that?
So they made the frame so that they could drop the extra axle in there. So it's got a pass-through axle. So the drive shaft goes in the front one, kicks over to the right, and then goes back to the other one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if that one was a 6-liter or a 7.3, but at the time I was doing an AC concern on it. But I have never felt so cool in my life than driving that thing. Because it's such an interesting vehicle. And then to find out that Ford had done a special run of frames for them and bed sides and everything to make that work and look 100% factory, because it was. So that was So far, I'm going to put that as coolest thing that I've worked on. I mean, we've worked on some very cool vehicles for government agencies that you would have never guessed that's what they're used for. And that's as far as I'll go with that. Yeah, I'm going to put that one right on the
fat
top.
ass around somehow.
Yeah.
Hey, right. We're at an
The
hour.
cool thing is that guy did gooseneck off of his. So it's like, you basically had a little miniature semi right there.
The only thing he was missing was the air brake license, which that probably had air brakes, right?
That one, it did not.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You guys work on air brakes at all at your store?
No.
Either of you?
Not that I know of.
We obviously have to have, we're trying to figure out right now if we need to have our air brake certification through the state. If we have to do it for warranty reasons.
We don't typically work on anything over a 450 just because our shop is not big enough for those trucks. Anything over that is pretty much
I know
just like
Ford's
pushing it.
policy is like, if you sell it, you have to be able to work on it.
Yeah.
So
We do GTs though.
we only get a handful of GTs coming in here and there, but they wanted us to do like a white room for it to work on them.
Yeah.
And I remember the one GT that came in, got pulled off a trailer, put on wheel dollies, and white gloved around the shop.
That's exactly what they want you to do. I worked on I didn't get to work on it, but I was working at the Hyundai dealership, and we had a guy that had bought one from the actual selling dealer, which was just across the river. And part of the thing is with those cars, you have to get them PPF'd right off the factory. Right off the factory delivery truck, basically. If it's not PPF'd, you don't get the car. That's how it works.
What's PPF?
So paint protection film or a paint protection program of some sort. And they were driving it back, heard a clatter, and the engine shut off. Car had 43 miles on it, and it cracked the number 3, number 4 cylinders all the way across. They said that because of the level of repair, if you ever get the chance, just look at the repair manual operation for just removing the engine itself. And it literally says remove the entire half of the car on a special jig.
Yeah.
It even says
I think the last TSB I saw for the GT is if you have a engine concern, you are supposed to contact a certain team and the vehicle gets shipped off to where they get assembled in Canada and they do the work there.
There's 2 places.
That's weird, man. That car, you buy it and you can't sell it type of stuff is like, man.
Yeah, but there's 2 places in the world that can do that kind of work to those cars. One is the manufacturing facility in Canada, which you're right about, and the other place is LA. Anything that involves anything other than really simple stuff like trim or a tire here and there, it gets sent off back to the original manufacturer.
That's crazy.
Bring that GT over my house. I'll fix it. You don't got to worry about that.
Oh, we were ready to tackle it. Our parts department was literally drooling over a long block quote at $78,000 or something like that.
You know what? That's a ripoff because it's just an EcoBoost. Why don't they just get one out of F-150 and stick it in there?
It's an EcoBoost that's on steroids.
Yeah,
it is
but
an EcoBoost that makes everything else cry.
Do you think they'll notice too much of a difference? Just put an F-150, give them 365.
Our parts department was jumping and screaming when we got to warranty a trans for a GT500. Yeah, not cheap. And it was for a line pressure sensor because it's not replaceable.
Is that dual clutch?
Yeah.
Is that dual clutch? Yeah.
So they had the Tremec engineer come out, or one of Tremec's engineers come out to confirm it. And it wasn't anything against, the technician diagnosing it or anything. It was just before they paid
so
that
early in the run.
Yeah, before they paid that $28,000 bill, for us to put a trans in it, they wanted to be like, they wanted Tremec to say, yep, it needs a trans.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the way that the industry goes from now on.
Oh,
man.
most definitely.
Everything is just
So-
stupid expensive, and it's not really anything
back
different than what
order.
we've lived with. Yeah, you know, and it's insane engineering that goes behind it and the design factoring, but it is not worth, like I said, a module that looks as big as my cell phone and all it does is radar communications. Like $5,000 is really inexpensive for a piece of PCB and plastic.
Well, you know what's weird is like anything on the vehicle has to cost so much more. Like I just did cameras on my salt spreaders, and those little cameras cost more than a full 4K DJI camera setup. Just the lens, for just an OEM lens that's in your tailgate is what, $300 or something like that. Just for the lens. $300 can get you like a whole camera, like an action camera that does
like a
way more.
Canon flip out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of that is to go with warranty costs to cover that, because if they're going to cover it for free, it's the same reason
No, I'm buying it.
all
I
of
mean,
our
I'm buying.
tools cost a ridiculous, stupid amount, is because no
No,
questions
I mean,
asked. We'll
I'm
just
buying
do
this. I'm buying this aftermarket though. Like just the lens aftermarket. It's like what?
One of my
Just for-
friends is an engineer, and his dad owned a electroplating company, but is also engineer. His mom's an engineer. So I'm like, why do automotive parts cost so much? Because you guys literally just told me how much it cost you to make a part from beginning to end. And you want to know what their answer was? Because we can. And because they can.
And
That's
they will.
why.
It's like they went to the German schools.
All right. Before we end, I want to see the coolest car photo on everyone's phone.
They're on their phones.
Yeah, we're on our phones.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking like, how am I going to
if you're
do
not
this?
on your phone,
Let me get throw my cat pictures.
You want to see a photo, man? I don't need no phone, man. I got I'm at my house.
I
don't
guess
gotta worry
I will
about
start. So around end of August, they do this thing in Grand Rapids called the Metro Cruise. And basically everyone comes out and floods like a main street, and it's just like a giant car show, car parade, whatever. And all the manufacturers get on board with dealerships that are on 28th Street, and they'll send us cars to put out, right? So at the time, the GT500 had not been released to the public. So that is the #2 GT500 prototype. And that is the #1 carbon GT.
Like
Full carbon
100%
monocoque.
carbon. Yeah.
1.3 million for the GT. And we said, well, what about the GT500? How much that's worth? And they're like, we can't put a number on it. So don't do anything to it.
There's my photo, Matt.
Fire truck? What kind of fire truck is that?
It's a 6.7 liter Powerstroke fire truck.
Wait, who makes that? Is that
It's
HME?
made by Pierce.
Pierce makes that. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, it came in for a driveline vibration. Had to put a drive shaft on it.
Dang, I didn't know that Pierce did that. That's
Ooh,
real cool.
I like that song.
Because there's a, I think it's HME. I could be wrong. But that is a manufacturer that's not far from us. And that was the company I looked at one time, make fire trucks. All right, Ryan, what do you have?
Still looking.
I mean, I have a couple few.
Here you go.
When I was out skiing earlier today, and this Subaru BRZ that probably had like 2/10 of an inch of ground clearance comes by. Ooh, nice GT boy.
That was the one that cracked the cylinder walls all the way
Dude,
across.
those cars are just unbelievably just beautiful and sexy. Like, if anyone has never seen inside of a GT, look at that steering wheel.
It feels like a scratch magnet. If you just sit in the car, you better not have a pocket knife, a screwdriver. You better just be wearing like nothing. Just get in your car naked.
Yeah,
that's the
Well, like,
only way you're not gonna scratch it.
Even the tail lights on these girls.
look at those.
I got one more. One from the Henry Ford Museum GT.
Ooh.
Ooh, I have
It's all
seen, I
just
think,
beat
you know
to
what?
hell. Just rubber
You know
all
what?
over the fenders.
That was the Le Mans car.
Yep.
Is
I
it
do have a-
think.
I have a story about an older GT. And
I'm gonna
it's,
look here.
the
think I have a
company
picture
I
of
worked
that car
for
on
for a
my
while had his son was, one of those car guys that just buys cars, doesn't really understand them, or just has way too much money and not enough brains. And they live on private property. Well, he took his friends out for a joyride in a GT, and therefore GT, and brought it into the shop for a rattle concern. Well, it's because there was about 3 inches of gravel in every air duct on that car, because he had decided to pull over in a gravel lot instead of, just find a place to turn around.
Here's a good one. I took a cab off of a truck at Bell Tire and had to take it to another location. That was kind of nice.
That had to be
I
interesting.
know I have a picture of that car. I gotta have a picture of the Le Mans car.
It just
That's also a really cool thing you should do if you like Ford trucks. Go to Dearborn and go do the Dearborn Rouge factory truck tour.
I'll take you in the plant. Don't worry about nothing. We'll go walk the floor and I'll show you some jobs.
And then I would highly recommend you come through and see us at Bill Brown Ford. You guys can check us out on billbrownford.net. Make sure to check us also out for the podcast on all of the most common podcast streaming groups. And the merch that I have coming in, I got some fresh set of shirts. I'm gonna get those up on the social media and let you guys know what the sizes, colors, and the costs are. And if you are down, get at me. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Mr. Zach from the West Coast, hanging out with us tonight. Kegman Nate, Angry Bear Matt, and Reeling Ryan Diaz. All I see is them two little knobby knees. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and tell us what you liked about it in the comment section below. And if you guys want to get on, check out DS's Catfish Camaro. Drop us an email here above my head or DS's email. He can send you some catfish pics. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching.